With The Legend of Zelda for Wii U on its way and even making a tiny appearance at the latest Nintendo Direct, many questions come to mind. With such an open world, will there be room for a dynamic story? If so, who's the antagonist? What's Link's purpose this time around? These questions and more all come to mind when watching all the footage shown so far. It seems the overall map design of The Legend of Zelda for Wii U has taken much inspiration from Twilight Princess as well as Ocarina of Time. With many key landmarks such as Death Mountain, Hyrule Field, Castletown, Kakariko Village, and Zora's Domain all keeping their respective positions to Ocarina of Time, and the Lost Woods, Lake Hylia, Snow Peak, and the Gerudo Desert keeping in tone with Twilight Princess. In this map, it appears Death Mountain is surrounded by ice. This could possibly be a major part in the story, as well as a black hole being centered in the Gerudo Desert. We also see a clutter of lakes that form a line down the middle of the map that connect to an ocean. There are some other sort of lake areas, but I'll address those later on. I expect a fishing mechanic to return from Twilight Princess, as well as a boat that you fish in. This being said, I think we will get a nice amount of mini-games like we did in Twilight Princess for fishing and boating. Another important map detail that I want to point out was the village or castle icon that appears on the map during the Game Awards. This could be the village that you maybe start the game out in, and I assume maybe icons will be added to the map as the game progresses. It is speculated whether The Legend of Zelda for Wii U is in any way related to Twilight Princess, be it sequel or prequel. If I had to give my 2 cents after heavy analysis, I would have to personally come to the conclusion that of this being a Twilight Princess prequel. Explaining how the Happy Mask Salesman, or Zant, came to bring Ganondorf back from the Twilight Realm, and with the Happy Mask Salesman being confirmed to make a showing in the next Zelda game thanks to Miiverse, this all helps put pieces together for me. Ganondorf being confirmed not to be the main antagonist, the reveal of Twilight Princess HD transitioning into such a similar landscape on the Wii U, the Happy Mask Salesman returning, my soon-to-becoming theory on Zant being the Happy Mask Salesman, and many similarities with Twilight Princess in the map layout, I come to the conclusion that the Happy Mask Salesman will be your main target in this game. I go as far to say as this will cause another split in the timeline, merging the child timeline with the Hero Has Fallen timeline, seeing as the Happy Mask Salesman has to succeed to get Majora's Mask to the Twilight Realm to become the Fused Shadow, to secure the Twilight Invasion. Crafting seems to be making a return from Skyward Sword, but in a much more complex manner, with upgrades that seem to be ranging from your sword all the way to your tunic, making the gameplay possibilities become much deeper. The sword most definitely has undergone the most changes, sharing many similarities to the Bagoron sword. The shield and tunic have also changed, with the shield and tunic now showing more rounded out patterns instead of the Sheikah eye on the shield, and spiky little Twilight patterns on the tunic. Oh, but don't worry, they made sure to keep us all wondering about Link's possible affiliations with the Sheikah by revealing a new item. This little book with the Sheikah eye in it seems to have a glowing stone in it that heavily resembles the time shift stones in the glowing aura from the arrows in the E3 2014 reveal. This is what most assume to be a book of tomes akin to Robin's Spellbook and Fire Emblem. This could be what allows Link to slow down time as he vaults off Epona, as well as shoots the explosive arrows. The possibilities are really almost limitless. I would love to see the return of fire and ice arrows from the Wind Waker and Ocarina of Time, as well as something new, as Link's bow is shaping up to play a huge role in this game. Perhaps you can craft the necessary items to allow you to use said fire, ice, and time shift arrows, again allowing for deeper use of the crafting system. Going back to the map right quick, while detailed and lively, many people claim it is empty. Now, this intrigues me after watching the Game Awards, with Miyamoto saying, "This area looks suspicious, I wonder if we're near a dungeon." Lo and behold, not only were there Twilight-looking stones, but also bokoblins near them. I would love to see the dungeons be actual dungeons in this game, akin to the Lost Woods, hidden. You must solve puzzles and defeat enemies before going into said dungeons, making gameplay much more interesting and deeper, while also showing the enemies are much more clever than before. Speaking of enemies, have you noticed the watchtowers scattered around throughout the map? Yeah, Eiji Aonuma did say some inspiration was taken from games being developed alongside Zelda U. This being Twilight Princess HD, Wind Waker HD, Majora's Mask 3D, and Hyrule Warriors. I guess Triforce Heroes too. Enemies now have health bars shown in the Game Awards. This is obviously taken from Hyrule Warriors, as well as the map design being taken from Twilight Princess and Ocarina of Time. The watchtowers, of course, have an identical design to their brothers in the Wind Waker. And as for the Happy Mask Salesman returning, this to me concludes that it will be tied to Majora's Mask and Twilight Princess somehow. Before I go, I would like to point out a few details in the landscape in this 12-second video. At the start, we see 4 goats on this little cliff that are nearly identical to the Ordon goats of Twilight Princess. We see a few more goats as the camera pans out, but something very important to note out is the insane draw distance of this game, showing just how large it truly is, as well as the lava pouring down what is most definitely Death Mountain. The game is shaping up to be what looks like a phenomenal RPG Zelda adventure game, revolutionizing the franchise with each new teaser we get. I hope for more showing at the next Game Awards, and until next time, have a good one.